Home Affairs ordered yet again to unblock IDs. In yet another legal victory for those whose ID documents were illegally blocked by Home Affairs, the Gauteng High Court, Pretoria, has once again ordered the department to unblock the IDs of 142 clients of Lawyers for Human Rights. The court gave the ruling last this week and ordered that Home Affairs had 20 days in which to do so. The Lawyers for Human Rights say the ruling underscored the broader impact on thousands of individuals suffering under the flawed administrative system. The judgment, handed down by Judge Elmarie van der Schyff in the matter of Phindile Philile Mazibuko and others, follows months of the department's non-compliance with a previous court order in the Mazibuko case issued in January. Since January, Home Affairs has failed to comply fully with the orders to investigate and unblock the IDs of hundreds of individuals, effectively stripping them of their constitutional rights and dignity, the Lawyers for Human Rights said. Many have been left unable to access essential services, work, or conduct basic transactions. The January judgment confirmed that the department's actions were unconstitutional. The latest ruling came after the lawyers from Human Rights returned to court because of the department's non-compliance. While the court did not find the department in contempt, it confirmed that Home Affairs had failed to unblock IDs by the deadline. The court also addressed the crucial issue of inconsistency, as Home Affairs said it had unblocked some of the IDs in July this year. However, the LHR said the numbers keep changing, causing confusion and concern. As a result, the court has demanded an affidavit from the department by September 27th, explaining exactly which IDs had been unblocked and when that had been done. In a parallel development, Home Affairs published a notice on August 16th threatening to cancel IDs unless affected individuals submitted written representations within 30 days. While Judge van der Schyff ruled the notice did not apply to the Lawyers of Human Rights clients, the notice remained a looming threat for thousands of others who could lose their IDs without a fair administrative process. The Lawyers for Human Rights say the case was not just about its clients. It was about the thousands of individuals whose rights were being violated by arbitrary and unconstitutional actions. The failure to unblock IDs impacted the most vulnerable members of the society, exacerbating poverty, inequality, and exclusion, it said. The Lawyers for Human Rights called on the department to urgently comply with the court's orders and to address the broader crisis by reviewing and reforming its administrative processes. The thousands of individuals facing the threat of having their IDs cancelled under the department's recent directive must be afforded fairness and proper administrative processes. A just and transparent system is essential to ensure that no one's rights are violated and that every individual can access justice and their basic constitutional rights, the organization said. On the other hand, calls for Home Affairs Minister to resign over scarce skills list. An online petition started by an online activist, Mehmet Fevadah, calling for the resignation of Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber, is gaining traction on social media. This comes after the minister's official recently released a critical skills list which includes call centers management, nursing, environmentalists are being on the country's critical skill list on the back of high levels of unemployment which affects graduates and young people in particular. The petition, which was started shortly after Schreiber's appointment as the new minister in July, has gained no less than 1,800 signatories. South Africa's Quarterly Labour Force Survey, QLFS, released in May by Statistics South Africa Stats SA, indicated that the number of unemployed persons increased by 330,000 to 8.2 million during the first quarter of 2024. According to Stats SA, the official unemployment rate stands at 32.9%. This suggests an increase of 0.8 of a percentage point in first quarter of 2024, Q1 2024, compared to the fourth quarter of the 2023, Q4 2023. The results of the QLFS also revealed that the number of employed persons increased by 22,000 to 16.7 million in the first quarter of 2024 compared to the fourth quarter of 2023. The department also received criticism after its decision to extend work visas to more than 11,000 immigrants who are meant to fill these vacancies. As a group of unemployed South Africans, we're deeply concerned by the decision of Leon Schreiber, the DA Minister of Home Affairs, to extend work visas for immigrants. This decision comes at a time when our country is grappling with a crisis of unemployment. With over 19 million skilled workers unemployed within our borders, this measure feels like a severe blow. Notably, this decision seems to undermine the diligent work done by Schreiber's predecessor, former Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, who tirelessly worked to streamline our system and remedy the errors of past administrations. Now, it seems we are again veering off course. Read parts of this online petition calling for Schreiber's head. On Monday, the EFF, through its student command led by its Secretary General Kanya Bungane, wrote to Minister of Higher Education calling for the department to investigate the matter of critical skills shortage in the country. We are aware that the Department of Higher Education compiles the list of critical skills list report, which it submits to the Department of Home Affairs. In terms of legislation, this list must guide the Department of Home Affairs in sourcing foreign and or non-South African workers from abroad to fill gaps in the South African local economy and labor market. The high number of unemployed graduates and youth in South Africa requires that always put the youth in South Africa first and insulate it from asymmetric global competition in our local labor market, Bungane said. As such, the party has called for the department to publish a comprehensive skills shortage list, stop the current call for working visas to immigrants, and to prioritize ASA graduates, young people, and locals in some of these jobs. Attempts to get comments from the Ministry of Home Affairs were unsuccessful at the time of going to Brin, following promises to revert with a statement of some of these recent developments affecting it. And lastly, is South Africa the rape capital of the world? The claim that South Africa is the rape capital of the world has become a common narrative often cited in global discussions about sexual violence. Recently, I read a Reddit post on the South Africa sub. The post was a positive one by a South African who apologized for taking South Africa for granted. The user said, "While this may be a rape capital and things here sometimes suck, no matter where I go, I know South Africa is my home and there is no other place where I belong." That struck a chord with me. Is South Africa really the rape capital of the world? While it is undeniable that gender-based violence is a grave and pervasive issue in the country, I think the accuracy of this label requires closer examination of both national crime statistics and global data. The South African Police Service's SAPS annual crime report for 2022-2023 found that South Africa's rape cases saw a slight increase with 42,780 rapes reported, up by 2.5% from the previous year. This equates to 70.59 cases per 100,000 people, or just under 5 an hour. As grim as these numbers are, we are not doing too bad in a global context. South Africa's law protects women through the Constitution, which guarantees equality and prohibits gender-based discrimination. The government has also introduced new laws, including the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Bill, to protect women and children from abuse and violence. We've adopted and incorporated international legal instruments aimed at protecting women's rights over and above being protected by the full range of rights guaranteed in the new constitution. According to the 2023-2024 annual Women, Peace and Security, Denmark is the best country to be a woman, while Afghanistan ranked at the bottom. The index is based on data that measures women's inclusion, justice access, and security in 177 countries. South Africa ranked at 91 with a score of 0.688, beating 86 other countries. In South Africa, despite a long-term decline from a decade ago, rape still accounted for 80% of all sexual offenses during the period under review. The report, based on Section 3 of the Criminal Law, Sexual Offenses and Related Matters, Amendment Act 2007, acknowledges that both men and women can be perpetrators or victims of rape. It further notes that rape is defined to include same-gender offenses, broadening the scope of understanding the crime. Despite the broad definition, SAPS data only reflects reported cases, meaning the true scale of the issue could be far worse due to underreporting, which is rife, especially in countries where women have very few, if any, constitutional rights. The World Population Review, which tracks rape statistics globally, highlights this difficulty. It is widely accepted that rape is underreported in many countries, including South Africa, for various reasons. Victims often face social stigma, fear of reprisal, or a lack of confidence in the legal system, all of which can prevent them from coming forward. Globally, it is estimated that only 40% of women who experience sexual harassment seek any form of help, and fewer than 10% actively engage with law enforcement. This figure likely holds true in South Africa, where survivors of rape and other sexual offenses frequently cite victim blaming and a lack of justice as reasons for their silence. This issue of underreporting complicates any claim that South Africa's rape figures alone can earn in the title of rape capital of the world. It is important to recognize the significant disparities in how rape is defined and recorded across the globe. In some countries, rape includes any form of non-consensual sex, while in others, it is only classified as rape if it involves extreme violence or passes certain legal thresholds. In addition, certain jurisdictions include statutory rape or marital rape in their figures, while others exclude them entirely. This inconsistency is evident when comparing South Africa to countries like Sweden and the United Kingdom, where broader legal definitions of rape may inflate the number of cases reported. Meanwhile, in countries with weaker legal framework or social taboos around sexual violence, rape may be underreported on an even larger scale than in South Africa. The global context makes it clear that labeling any country as the rape capital of the world is problematic. The very definition of rape varies widely, as do cultural and legal framework that either encourage or discourage victims from reporting the crime. International statistics on rape often also fail to capture the nuanced experiences of sexual violence victims. While South Africa faces a severe crisis of gender-based violence and sexual offenses, the label of rape capital does little to address the underlying systematic issues. It is crucial to examine the broader systematic issues that have contributed to South Africa's rape epidemic. Patriarchy, poverty, and a pervasive culture of violence play significant roles in perpetuating sexual violence. While increased reporting and police interventions are necessary steps, they are not enough to address the root causes. And that's it from Egypt's Crime. Stay tuned to our essay Criminals and Correctional updates.